I want to be the queen.
I want to be the queen. Not a queen. Not some queen. The queen. Margaery Tyrell doesn't confess ambition. She announces it like a coronation. The terrifying part wasn't that she wanted power. It was that she refused to lie about wanting it. There is one moment in this scene that reveals everything the show will hide about her until the very end. The novels prove what she was really calculating. Stay until the end. I will show you. To calculate the atmospheric pressure of this moment in Renly's camp, we must understand what Margaery has already decided before she walks into this tent. Renly Baratheon has called himself king. His banners fly. His army gathers. And he has a problem. One that Margaery saw the moment she arrived. Loras Tyrell, her brother, is in Renly's bed. This is not a rumor. This is the condition of the marriage Margaery just accepted. Renly needs an heir to legitimize his crown. Margaery needs the crown more than she needs romance. What is at stake is not her dignity or her heart. It is her family's dynasty and her single shot at the only thing she has wanted since childhood. Everything she says in the next moment flows from that calculation.
Calling yourself king doesn't make you one. And if Renly wasn't a king, I wasn't a queen.
Do you want to be a queen?
Margaery speaks these words with the precision of someone who has already mapped every exit. She doesn't ask Renly for permission to grieve or to feel wounded. She cuts straight to the transaction beneath the performance. What she is saying on the surface is a political reality. A king without legitimacy is no king at all. But underneath, she is establishing the terms of her own survival. She will not play the betrayed wife. She will not cry. She will not pretend she loves him. In stripping away the fiction of his kingship, she is simultaneously stripping away the fiction of their marriage. What remains is raw political machinery. Margaery is signaling that she understands the cage she has walked into and that she has already accepted it as the price of admission. This is where the first psychological insight surfaces. Margaery's refusal to perform emotion in this moment is rooted in what we might call pragmatic compartmentalization, the psychological mechanism by which a person cleanly separates the emotional content of a relationship from its instrumental value, allowing them to pursue the instrumental value without the interference of feeling. In Margaery's case, this is not coldness. It is clarity. Most people convince themselves they are acting from love or duty or some other sanctified motivation. Margaery has already done the work of self-honesty. She is not here for Renly. She is here for the crown. And because she has accepted this truth about herself, every decision she makes becomes simpler.
No. I want to be the queen.
The repetition is the weapon here. Not a queen, not Renly's queen, not some future possibility. The queen. Present tense, singular, absolute. She is not answering his question. She is erasing it. The question was, do you want to be a queen? A gentle out, an offer to send her home gracefully. Margaery responds by redefining the entire conversation. She wants to be the queen, the only queen. And everyone in this tent knows that means she will pursue that crown through Renly, around Renly, or without Renly if necessary. Her honesty becomes a form of power because it removes ambiguity. This honesty activates what we might call tactical vulnerability, the deliberate exposure of one's true motivation, not as weakness, but as a demonstration of confidence, a signal that you are secure enough in your position to stop performing, and that your opponent should update their calculation accordingly. When Margaery says, "I want to be the queen," she is not confessing a weakness. She is claiming a strength. She is announcing that she is not playing a game of pretense. She is playing a game of power. And if Renly wants to keep her, he must acknowledge that her ambition is not something to be managed. It is the price he pays for access to the Tyrell alliance. The show gives us a Margaery who will do whatever it takes, who marries Joffrey, who poisons him, who adapts her strategy with brutal intelligence. But the show never lets us see what the books show, the calculating architecture of her mind before any of this happens. The books reveal a character who has already thought 3 moves ahead of everyone else on the board, including Renly. She arrives at his camp already knowing what she will do. She arrives already knowing the answer to every question he has not yet asked. And when he asks if she wants to be a queen, she doesn't hesitate because there is nothing to decide. She has decided already. She is simply announcing it. But here is what the show never told you. In the books, Margaery moves through Renly's camp with a strategy so complete that it predates her arrival. The novels do not show Renly's death as something that shocks her or forces her to adapt. They show it as something she has already factored into her calculations. Her willingness to marry him comes not from love or even from a simple desire to wear a crown. It comes from a cold reading of the political landscape that identifies Renly as temporary. And this reframes everything about the scene we just analyzed. Margaery's honesty in saying, "I want to be the queen," is not a moment of spontaneous clarity. It is a statement that has been rehearsed, not in words, but in her understanding of exactly where she sits in the hierarchy of power. The show presents it as bravery. The books reveal it as something far more chilling: preparation. You have stayed this long because you came here for psychology and you found something sharper than motivation. You found ruthlessness. The deeper lore rewards that attention. Like the video. Subscribe for more analysis where the show diverges from the source and leaves you seeing characters entirely differently. Now let me show you what else the show buried. The omission that restructures everything. In the books, Margaery has a mother. Margaery Tyrell exists as a guiding force, but what the show removes almost entirely is Margaery's childhood instruction in political marriage. The novels hint at a dynasty that has trained her since girlhood for exactly this moment. The show presents her ambition as personal, as something that erupted from her own hunger. The books show it as hereditary. Margaery Tyrell and Mace Tyrell have been positioning Margaery toward the crown since she was old enough to understand what a crown meant. When she arrives at Renly's camp, she is not improvising. She is executing a plan that was drawn before Renly even knew he wanted to be king. The show removes this context entirely, making her seem like a stray ambition looking for a vessel. The books show a girl who has been shaped by her entire family toward a single objective: the Iron Throne. Watch the moment she tells Renly she wants to be the queen, and now ask yourself, is that her confession or her recitation of a script she has been rehearsing for years? The softening that protects the audience from her actual darkness? The show version of Margaery softens her calculation into something almost romantic. She arrives. She sees Loras. She offers practical solutions. She even seems touched by Renly's position. There is warmth in how she moves through the scene. The books do not soften this. Margaery's POV chapters reveal a character who sees people as pieces on a board and who has already assigned each of them their role. When she looks at Renly, she is not seeing a king who deserves her loyalty. She is seeing a banner under which she can march toward the throne. When she looks at Loras, she is not seeing her brother's heartbreak. She is seeing a resource, one that will make Renly depend on her more completely because she alone understands both his secret and his strategic needs. The show makes her sympathetic. The books make her strategic. And this explains why the show version can be shocked by Renly's death, while the book version seems almost unsurprised by it. She was not betting on Renly. She was betting on the Tyrell army, the Tyrell gold, and the Tyrell ability to shift allegiance faster than anyone else on the board. Now revisit the moment where she says, "I want to be the queen," and ask yourself, is this ambition or is this hunger? The answer changes everything about how you read her. The timeline shift that rewrites her agency. The show compresses Margaery's journey toward power into a reaction. She marries Renly, then Joffrey, then Tommen. Each marriage is presented as a strategic pivot away from a dead king toward a living one. But the books reveal a timeline that is far more calculated. Margaery's campaign toward the throne begins before Renly dies. She has already positioned the Tyrell army. She has already mapped every alliance. She has already decided what happens next. The show makes her adaptive, a brilliant player who responds to the board as it changes. The books make her predictive, a player who is already 3 moves ahead and watching the board catch up to her calculations. When she tells Renly, "I want to be the queen," she is not discovering ambition in this moment. She is announcing it because she has already won. The crown is not something she is chasing. It is something she has already calculated how to obtain. The show gives us a woman who survives by being flexible. The books give us a woman who survives because she has already played the game in advance in her mind and decided the outcome before anyone else knew the game had started. Which version is more dangerous? The answer is the version who has already won. The hidden POV that reveals the wound. The books never give us Margaery's full internal monologue in this scene, but they give us enough across her chapters to understand what she is actually thinking when she announces, "I want to be the queen." She is not thinking about Renly. She is thinking about her father. She is thinking about the moment Mace Tyrell realized that his son could never be king because his son was not who the throne needed him to be. She is thinking about how the Tyrell family has built everything, every castle, every alliance, every golden coin, toward a single goal, a Tyrell on the throne. And she is thinking about the fact that it will be her, not her brothers, not her cousins, her. This is not pride. This is inheritance. Margaery has been raised to believe that the throne is her birthright, not because the law says so, but because her family has decided to make it so. The wound beneath her words is not personal rejection or romantic disappointment. It is the weight of a dynasty's expectation. She has never been given a choice about wanting to be the queen. She has only ever been given the tools to become one. And when she announces it to Renly, she is not confessing ambition. She is reporting for duty. Here is what the show never showed you, now gathered into a single reading. Margaery walks into Renly's tent already knowing she will survive this camp, already knowing this king will not endure, already knowing that her position requires her to be ruthless in ways that Renly is too sentimental to understand. The show makes her ambitious. The books make her trained. The show makes her clever. The books make her inevitable. And when she says, "I want to be the queen," she is speaking from a place of such complete certainty that Renly's death is almost a footnote to a story she has already written. The crown will come to her not because she is worthy of it, but because she has already decided it will and has positioned herself where destiny cannot ignore her. She will play the role of loyal wife to Joffrey. She will play the role of sympathetic companion to Tommen. She will play every role the throne requires. But none of these are her actual role. Her actual role is the one she was born to play. She is not trying to become queen. She is simply revealing who she always was. The architecture of Margaery's ambition teaches us something about how power actually works in systems where people believe in their own inevitability. She does not hustle or scramble. She does not plead or negotiate with uncertainty in her voice. She simply states the truth. "I want to be the queen," and lets everyone else adjust their understanding of what is possible. In boardrooms and family systems where power moves through clarity rather than through force, the person who has already decided is always more powerful than the person who is still deciding. Margaery has decided. She decided before she arrived. And her willingness to say it out loud is the proof. Margaery's ultimate lesson is about the psychological simplicity of pure ambition. When you remove all the other motivations, love, loyalty, family feeling, from the equation, every decision becomes vastly clearer. She does not love Renly. She does not feel bound by conventional marriage. She does not hesitate because she has already done all her hesitating in advance. In modern systems, this kind of single-minded clarity reads as either inspiring or chilling, depending on who is wielding it and who is in its path. But the principle is identical. The person who knows exactly what they want and has accepted the cost of obtaining it is always more effective than the person who wants many things and is still negotiating with themselves about whether those wants are acceptable. Margaery has negotiated with herself and come to a conclusion. She wants to be the queen. She will be the queen. And everyone else is simply watching the prediction become inevitable. So here's the question this scene leaves open for you. Is Margaery's ruthlessness the product of her ambition? Or is her ambition the product of how she was raised? Can she be any different than what she is? Or has the Tyrell family shaped her toward this single outcome so completely that choice became impossible? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'll see you in the next.